Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Hulk, Grand Design issue number 1 of several. It's got to be several, and this issue is called Monster. All this is Jim Rugg doing everything, and he does the what little writing there is, and he does the art, which it's. If you know Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor, they've got their podcast where I don't really follow it because they're very knowledgeable, but they're also very, very tightly opinionated on things with very little wiggle room. And as somebody who, I don't know if I'm as much a comic book historian as them, but I've talked to some of the same people who they have. Saying I've talked to people who they haven't. Sorry, I don't know. I disagree with so much of what they say, and they're very unyielding in their opinions, which is sad for people who know as much as they do. But it is what it is. That being said, I say that only because that's what I felt when I was reading this comic book. Jim Rugg, who for all intents and purposes, again, very nice guy, very knowledgeable guy, very good, artist, writer, very good comic book cartoonist, This has the art style that you're mostly going to be focusing on, where it's just single drawings all done in one take, and the coloring is just, it's however, I think it's done digitally. I think it's made to look like it's done with the 4-dot matrix, even though it's clearly not. But however it is that he's coloring, I don't know if he's actually doing the colors by hand and then having them digitally replicated and then sending them in, or if he's just doing them digitally. Either way, it's just a one-color, flat, matte, color for everything. And that's good. It works. There's a lot of people that work for, a lot of people who enjoy that kind of work. The All Reds, they just came out with Excellent, issue number 1 today. Or is it called Excellent? Anyway, it's an X book. It's by the All Reds, right? Laura and Doc. What do you call it? Basically, to give a little bit of a Mobius ring on that one, for the kind of people who like that kind of thing, this is the kind of thing that those people like. All right? Like, that's exactly what it is. It's in my opinion, the perfect definition of that. If you like this kind of art, this is the kind of art that you like. I don't dislike this art. It's just, for me, I can take it or I can leave it. I can look at it and say, this gives me exactly what I need to move on and to just, fold this thing in my back pocket. There's going to be some people who are going to put this in CGC, I'm sure. I don't understand why. But sure, I'm sure that you'll get a sale or two. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe this is the kind of thing that you want to do. I don't know. For me, this is the kind of comic book that you would fold in half and stick it in your back pocket. Very rarely do I do this, but this is the kind. And that's fine because that's the perfect response that Rugg and Piskor would like. Piskor did a variant cover for this. That's why I keep mentioning him. But that's the kind of comic book that Jim Rugg enjoys making. The one that you're not going to sit there and save forever, but he's not interested in that. I don't think he's ever going to try and do a comic book like that, even though he inadvertently has for the X-Men universe Grand Design. That I thought was a great book. Even the X-Men Grand Design I thought was good. The Fantastic Four one, I could see the potential in that, but I figured after this one, I don't think they're going to make any more. But after the wild success of Al Ewing's Immortal Hulk, I think that they decided, let me throw together a Hulk one really quick. It'll make some money, it'll do some sales, and it will. It absolutely will. I don't see the need for this book. I don't recommend for or against getting this book. This book just exists. If you are already familiar with all of the Hulk books, and this pretty much goes through the majority of the Buscema years, boom, you're golden. You know what I'm saying? You can grab this just for a quick memory of certain storylines. There's some things that are going to be missed. One of the things, I just finally got this replaced. So, boom, the Saba story, the Middle East and all that, Arabian Night, I believe, is introduced in this one also. I haven't opened it up yet. But, little stories like that. That one's missed, but there's a couple other storylines that are in there that they just really quickly, like 1 or 2 panels they touch on. So if you're familiar with those stories, you just want a quick reminder, you want to be like, I remember that one. This is the kind of book that you'd read, shove in your back pocket, and then go to your long box and pull those out and be like, yeah, let me reread this story from here because it reminded me of it and it was really good, All the Kirby through Buscema years, I think, are covered for the most part in this issue. After this, we'll probably get into the Peter David stuff, right? The Todd McFarlane stuff, maybe. Anyway, that being said, the people who aren't as familiar with the Hulk, this book could be useful. Could. because you're going to get certain storylines in here that make you say, like, who's Jarella? Let me go and check this out, right? It could. My recommendation would be to go to a place like the online, like the Marvel database. I've had some influence on the Marvel database. The Hulk is one of the characters who I've also done pretty extensive work on. I've corrected some people's work on, and I've just added a bunch of parts where, like, somebody would say, here's this story arc and this story arc. It's like, oh, you missed this and this one in between. So I'll fill those in, but briefly, like I'll give a very short couple of sentences, barely a paragraph each. But the Hulk is one of those characters who's very, very detailed on the Marvel database. If you want to go and look at that, it's not Marvel funded. It's a private thing. It's a fan thing. I didn't get paid for doing it, and I didn't pay to do it. I just did it because I saw a need and I filled the need. Anyway, I think you can get more information there. So if you want to just sit back and read something, but if you just want something very top of the mind or whatever, and you want to pay however much this comic book costs, I just bulk do my stuff and I don't bother looking at the prices. CBU pays for that stuff, which is me, but like the money I get for that, it's automatically boom, 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 the Amazon back and forth. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, you can get all this stuff and more in the Marvel database. If you actually just want to, thank you for the blessings. If you actually just want to read the thing, hey, by all means, go ahead and read the thing. It is what it is. And that's all that it is. Like I said, I can't recommend wow, or dissuade against this book. It is what it is. That's really it. Anyway, for those of you who are wondering why I'm not doing so much stuff, my wife and I right now are in a plan where we're saving up to buy a bigger house with a whole lot more property because we don't have hardly any property. And we want that. And I would actually like to start homesteading, and that's probably going to be a second home that I'd have to do. So that's a whole lot of saving. That's a whole lot of working, a whole lot of saving. And I had to prioritize and recognize that Comic Book University, for whatever reason, isn't making that much money. And there's a bunch of reasons behind it. Somebody made a comment. He wonders why nobody's looking at his stuff anymore. I never really stopped to think of it. I just made the stuff, and every so often I go back and I look. Do people like this? Do people like this? Oh, no. Somebody likes this. Somebody doesn't like this. Whatever. I've never been the biggest guy. I've never been anywhere close to being the biggest guy doing comic book reviews. I am one of the only guys who does actual comic book reviews, as opposed to, oh, isn't this awesome? Oh gosh, this is the best. That's not me. I'm very honest in my reviews. I'm not here to validate anybody's opinion, so I understand that alone. And on top of that, I know that being an Italian from Jersey, and an Italian from Jersey usually means a Sicilian, I know that I don't have an attitude that's very conducive to a lot of people having an online friendship with, In person, I'm a really fun, jovial guy. Online, you're not getting the warmth, saying, and the idea that I'm non-hostile. Some people just don't like my attitude online. I've come to recognize that. I can't, maybe I can do something about it, but it's not for the tiger to change his stripes. And that goes with you guys also, I don't mean anything personal. I don't mean to be insulting or offensive to anybody. If you choose to take it that way, literally, that's a choice that you're making. I'm not throwing anything out there. You're simply receiving it in a certain way. Apologies. Like I said, nothing's personal. I don't mean to actually offend anybody. It is what it is. So that being said, I make a couple $100 from doing this, but I would never even consider quitting even a contract to do CBU full time. Absolutely not. I make way too much money doing the other things that I do. And that's not a brag. That's not me, swaggering a little bit. That's not me. I'm saying comparatively, I work a full-time job, I take care of my kids, and I take up contracts once in a while, One thing that I just did recently to give you guys an idea of how I am with my money, I just took up boxing. I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a little while now, right? I look good in my gi, but I just took up boxing recently. Just yesterday I had my first boxing match and kicked my butt, but it was great, Having some 14-pound gloves on your hands, and try to do jabs and stuff like that. I never knew right here below the deltoid and above the bicep and the tricep, could hurt so bad. I'm like, what is that? It's a blank space. It's like, no, you can actually build that up. I'm like, well, I'm apparently going to, because like right here, it hurts. It hurts bad, My legs turned to jello. My left leg actually almost went into muscle failure. Like, it hurt doing the step jab. He's like, you're really good at this. Maybe he's just saying that because he wants my money. But, martial arts since I was 8, I know how to throw a freaking punch and move, But that being said, he's like, no, you're really good at this stuff. You just got it. You're using muscles you never used before. I've been sitting at a computer for 2 years, saying I haven't been investing in my body like Lou Ferrigno reminded me to do. It is what it is, man. So I decided to take up boxing, but it's $95 Canadian for each lesson. This guy is good. You know what I'm saying? He's been in movies and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you his name because like my kids train there also. So yeah, sorry. Anyway, the guy's really good and it's $95 per session. Hey, I could do $95 per session. I figured, okay, I will budget this out to be once a week I will do this. And the way that I think is I don't say, well, that's going to have to cut into my savings. No, we've got a plan and we've got a goal and a deadline for that plan. It's of course, it could extend. It's not like a hard fix, but we've got in our minds that this is where we're going to go. Here's financial advice from Professor Bill. It is a university after all, not just a class. We have a in mind timeline for when we want to be able to afford this and then when we want to be able to afford that. And in order to do that, we have to keep on making the money that we're making or more. So if I'm going to take up another expense, and here's the advice, then you have to find a way to subsidize that expense. So if I'm going to be, so I've decided I'm going to spend $95 a month and give cash to this man, so no taxes. Deal with it, Justin Trudeau. I'm going to give $95 a week to this guy. I've got to have another $95 coming in. With no contracts immediately available, I decided, you know what? On my way to and from the karate class, the karate studio, so I can do the boxing classes there, I'm going to pick up a DoorDash. So I'm going to pick up, if you guys are familiar with the DoorDash app, I'm going to pick up one on the way and pick up one on the way back. And I've got all week to fulfill those 2 DoorDashes, and then that will give me the $95 plus, or at least close enough to it, so that this doesn't interfere with my life savings goals, right? That's the way that I think. And so to, hopefully that's something to help you guys out and make you think of better ways. If I've got to travel to this place, a couple miles away, kilometers here in Canada, why not say, let me find a DoorDash recipient that's someplace where I'm going to be? If I'm coming home, is there somebody who needs a DoorDash by where I'm going, where my home is, so I can just drop that off, just pick it up and drop it off, do whatever, It's just little ways that you try and find ways to have your little side hustle and things like that. There are so many opportunities and ways out there for people who can understand the world in the sense of, instead of seeing numbers and letters come down, you see dollar signs come down in the matrix code, right? You just have to pick out where they are. That's the way I think. And rather than trying to fix something that may or may not be able to be fixed, for Comic Book University and make it super popular, because it'd be great to sit here and do reviews all the time. It would be great to just sit here and do reviews and quit my job and not have to take up contracts and just do this. And, like some of the other YouTubers out there that we all idolize in some way or another. I know I make fun of Rob and the things that he does, but that dude is living his best life, or he's living a life, better than mine in many regards. This guy was able to buy a house out in Colorado. I don't know if he's still there, but a house out in Colorado, and met, I don't know if it's his dream girl, but whatever, met somebody, online and all this stuff. And all he does is he talks about comic books and giggles, chuckles very heartily with his butter smooth voice and whatever. Dude, I can make fun of this guy all day, all week long, but I can't tell you how envious I am of this man, right? Like, understand that about me. I'm making fun of you because I love you. I love what you do and I respect the hell out of what you do, Boom, this freaking guy, let me tell you something. Wow. So, and I don't have the ability to do that, or I haven't cracked the code to be able to do that. So, but I have goals. I have family goals and things like that in mind. And there are other ways I know how to make money and to achieve those goals. And like genuinely apologies, but CBU has to suffer for that. So there will be some weeks where I only put out one review. There'll be some weeks where I don't put out any reviews. And sometimes because I look at this and I'm just like, I'm not interested in what's available this week, or I don't have time, so again, genuinely apologies. One way that can be changed is to like the video and watch an ad. And if you do that, hey, maybe we'll do some tickers, and I can, once a month I go and, oh, your AdSense, money is coming. Oh, really? Okay, cool. I think that's on like the 20th. Yeah, it's on the 23rd of every month. So I'm going to look at them like, oh, let me go see what the channel statistics. That's the only time that I do that. Once a month I do that. I look and be like, okay. Up by subscribers, lower on views. That always seems to happen. It is what it is. Hey. So like the video, watch an ad. That will boom, 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 boom. And I'm telling you, if one of these days, the 23rd of a month comes by and I look and I'm just like, hey, there's a whole lot more views. Hey, I made a whole lot more. My profits increased by 14% on this. I'll think maybe I can do more. Maybe there's more I can do. I actually do have a series that I want to start one of these days. And hopefully I have some time to get around to doing it. Hopefully, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, guys, love you all. Like the video, watch an ad. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Oh, wait, one more thing. No, there's actually nothing else. See, that's my personality. I just like to mess around. Talk to you later. Comic Book University. Class dismissed. That's what I say.